The avoidant person experiences breakups fundamentally differently than other attachment styles. Their response shaped by years of conditioning that taught them emotional distance equals safety and independence equals strength. Their post breakup behavior follows predictable patterns rooted in their need to suppress vulnerability, maintain their self image of emotional superiority, and avoid confronting the grief and loss that threaten their carefully constructed defenses. Understanding these patterns reveals the complex internal world beneath their facade of indifference and provides insight into why their healing process operates on such significant delay compared to their former partners. They immediately seek distraction and replacement. The avoidant person throws themselves into activities, work, hobbies, or new romantic prospects with startling speed after a breakup. This frantic distraction serves as emotional anesthesia, preventing them from sitting with feelings of loss, loneliness, or regret that might surface in stillness. They fill every moment with stimulation and engagement, creating no space for reflection or grief to penetrate their awareness. Their social calendar becomes packed, their professional ambitions intensify, and their interest in new connections appears almost manic. This pattern reflects their desperate need to prove to themselves and others that the relationship's ending has no real impact on their well-being or happiness. They present as thriving and unbothered, posting evidence of their exciting new life and demonstrating how quickly they have moved forward. However, this frantic activity masks the emotional processing they are actively avoiding. The distraction strategy postpones rather than resolves their grief, storing emotions that will eventually demand attention when their defenses inevitably weaken. They rewrite the relationship narrative. The avoidant person begins systematically reconstructing their memory of the relationship, emphasizing every flaw, incompatibility, and negative moment while minimizing or forgetting entirely the positive experiences and genuine connection. They convince themselves that the relationship was never that significant, that their ex was too needy or flawed for lasting partnership, and that the breakup represents relief rather than loss. This cognitive restructuring protects their ego and justifies their emotional unavailability. They share carefully curated versions of the relationship's ending with friends and family that position them as the rational party dealing with someone overly emotional or demanding. This narrative serves multiple psychological purposes: maintaining their self-image, avoiding accountability for their role in the relationship's failure, and preventing others from questioning whether their avoidant patterns contributed to yet another failed connection. The story they tell themselves and others becomes increasingly distorted as they rewrite history to support their defensive needs. They experience delayed emotional impact. The avoidant person's genuine grief and regret surface weeks or months after the breakup when their defenses finally exhaust themselves. The emotions they successfully suppressed during the relationship and immediately after its ending suddenly flood their awareness with overwhelming intensity. They find themselves unexpectedly crying, missing their ex with surprising intensity, and recognizing the value of what they lost only after it becomes irretrievable. This delayed processing catches them completely off guard. They begin remembering moments of tenderness they dismissed at the time, recognizing gestures of love they failed to appreciate, and feeling profound longing for someone who offered patience and acceptance they could not receive. This grief feels particularly painful because it arrives too late for repair or reconciliation. They realize their defensive patterns consistently destroy what they actually want, creating cycles of loss that span their entire relational history. They monitor their ex from distance. The avoidant person engages in covert surveillance of their former partner through indirect means, checking profiles, asking mutual friends about their well-being, or creating situations where they might obtain information without direct contact. This behavior contradicts their presentation of indifference and reveals their continued psychological investment despite their inability to express it directly or healthily.